Hello, everybody. You're on the mic. And on today's episode, we're going to be looking at Grantray-Lawrence Animation. Now, technically, yeah, I know it was a Canadian studio, but it is significantly historic because of the fact it gave us, of course, the 1967 Spider-Man series that gave us the classic theme we all have probably heard at some point in our lives. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size. Can't you see? Just like flies, look out. Here comes the Spider-Man. Sure, we all have heard that song at some point. Well, that was part of the Spider-Man series from 1967, done by Grantray Animation and Grantray-Lawrence Animation. And without no further ado, of course, let's go ahead and get started and take a quick peek at Grantray-Lawrence, as there's not as much information on them as I've been able to present in other videos. So this will be probably a quicker video um, in regards to all that. So Grantray-Lawrence Animation was an animation studio active from 1954 to 1967 and founded by Grant Simmons, Ray Patterson, hence Grant Ray, and Robert Lawrence. The animation company produced commercials and low-budget animated television shows until it went bankrupt in 1967, and its distributor Krantz Films took over production. Kind of like what Paramount did with Famous Studios, right? Or with Fleischer Studios, right? We talked about that last couple of days here. Productions included Planet Patrol, a 1958 failed pilot. Probably the other well-known cartoon that was co-produced between Grantray and Krantz Films, the Marvel Superheroes, 1966-67. Of course, that was what ran like 5 days a week, and on each day you had they would feature a different hero. Mondays it was Captain America. Tuesday was Iron Man. Wednesday it was the Incredible Hulk. Thursday it was Mighty Thor, which, from what I understand, the Mighty Thor segments were actually co-produced with Famous Studios, and then Submariner on Friday. Let's see, Max, a 2,000-year-old mouse, 1960, another co-production with yeah, a lot of these were co-productions. Rocket Robin Hood, uncredited co-production of from Krantz Films, and then of course the Spider-Man series I talked about that was co-produced Krantz Films. Season one only though, as ABC took over, taken over by Ralph Bakshi. The Spider-Man theme song, which of course I talked about a few minutes ago, has been covered and parodied in various commercials, TV shows, video games, and films, including the Simpsons movie 2007. We talked quite a bit about that, in fact. And that's unfortunately all that there was on that. I mean, I guess a few other things I could say on it were some of the voice actors and actors that lent their voices to Grantray-Lawrence would include Paul Soles, who was the voice of Spider-Man Peter Parker, Paul Kligman, who I think voiced J. Jonah Jameson in that, Bernard Cohen, um, and also, particularly on some of the Marvel superheroes cartoons, John Vernon, who voiced Iron Man and Submariner, would actually about 30 years later would actually 25 to 30 years later would provide the voice of Rupert Thorne on Batman the Animated Series of the 90s from the DCAU. So, well, those are at least some of the voices that were involved with Grantray, and Chris Wiggins also, who voiced Thor. I think he would later also work on Sailor Moon. Um, But aside from that, there's again not much other than just simply the fact that Krantz Films took over when Grantray-Lawrence went bankrupt. So with that, then let's move on to the next segment here, which of course is the would be the This Day in Each History segment. Today being May 29th, 2020, 2020. Let's take a look at what happened on this day in the past. So first off, on this date 40 years ago, um, on this date 40 years ago, Harvey Comics released 4 Richie Rich titles on this date in 1980. Those including the eponymous Richie Rich, number one issue number 193, the 15th issue of Richie Rich and Gloria. I'm sorry, let me start that again. Harvey Comics, known for, of course, Richie Rich, Casper the Friendly Ghost. We talked a bit about Harvey yesterday because a lot of their cartoon products were done through Famous, but I think Richie Rich was actually done, I think, by Ruby Spears, the cartoons. But on this date in 1980, 40 years ago, Harvey Comics released 4 Richie Rich titles on the newsstands. They released the 193rd issue of Richie Rich, the 15th issue of Richie Rich and Gloria, the 36th issue of Richie Rich Billions, and then the 4th issue of Richie Rich Vacation Digest. So on this date, 40 years ago, 4 Richie Rich titles were released by Harvey. I said, for the most part, as I mentioned yesterday, a lot of the Harvey Comics characters were originally developed by Famous Studios and were made, of course, into comics eventually. Casper the Friendly Ghost, Baby Huey, Little Audrey, Hector and Catnip, Modern Madcaps. Richie Rich was actually one of those who was not. I don't think his cartoon show was actually done by Famous because he didn't get a cartoon until the 80s. I think it was done by Ruby Spears. So, so with that being, so this date, 40 years ago, 4 titles of Richie Rich were released on the newsstands. And on this date in the year 2000, 20 years ago, after having won the WCW World title on the previous week's Thunder, WCW Thunder, aired, taped May 23rd, aired May 24th. Kevin Nash awards the WCW World Heavyweight title to Ric Flair, who subsequently drops it to Jeff Jarrett. So on this date in the year 2000, Flair is awarded the WCW World title by Kevin Nash, only to drop the title to Jeff Jarrett on this date in 2000. So if you would like to check the links below, you can contact me directly on my Discord. My Discord link is down there. You can direct message me there. You can check out the Discord and join if you'd like. I'm also still promoting a bunch of different dub companies. Right now would be a good time to get caught up on some of the older anime classics if you haven't had a chance to, with everything going on. Also, I'm still, of course, promoting Vic's GoFundMe as well as Tug and Lug's latest comic book adventure, another case for the Littlest Umbrella. Guys want to check the links out there. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. If it's on your heart to do so, and you as always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. If you have the means to, it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if If you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. Because sharing is caring, and you never know. Maybe somebody in your circle of friends may see it and say, "Yeah, I want to help out too." Doesn't hurt to ask, after all. And also, if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys, as long as it's civil and respectful. Um, don't forget, later on tonight, of course, will be my latest um, VA profile premiere, Voices Big and Small. This week we'll be looking at Chris Kaysen of Funimation, and also of LA as well, Dallas and LA. And with that, I hope to see you guys tonight for the premiere. If not, then I will talk to you on Monday. Bye.